Billions of dollars has been paid to Harvard. How ridiculous is that? Billions.
The standoff between the Trump administration and Harvard University has reached a new peak, as federal authorities revoked Harvard's authorization to enroll international students.
Where the students can't add 2 and 2 and they go to Harvard. How do they get into Harvard? Why are they there? And then you see those same people picketing and screaming at the United States.
On 22nd of May 2025, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem in a letter said that Harvard's certification under the Student and Exchange Visitor Program has been revoked. The Student and Exchange Visitor Program within the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is part of the Department of Homeland Security. It manages and oversees schools and programs in the U.S. that are authorized to enroll non-immigrant students and exchange visitors. With the certification under the program now revoked for Harvard, the university can no longer enroll new foreign students, and nearly 6,800 international students already on campus must either transfer to another institution or risk losing their legal status in the US. The Department of Homeland Security in a letter accused Harvard of refusing to comply with multiple requests for information about non-immigrant international students, specifically regarding protest activities, disciplinary records, and other documentation. The letter charged Harvard with perpetuating an unsafe campus environment hostile to Jewish students, prompting pro-Hamas sympathies, and employing what DHS described as racist, diversity, equity, and inclusion policies.
When it comes to Harvard, the president's position on this is grounded in common sense, in the basic principle that Jewish American students, or students of any faith, should not be illegally harassed and targeted on our nation's college campuses. And we unfortunately saw that illegal discrimination take place on the campus of Harvard. There are countless examples to prove it, particularly with the stunning confession by then Harvard President Claudine Gay, who said that bullying and harassment depended on the context.
While sharing the letter, Noem wrote that Harvard was collaborating with the Chinese Communist Party. After Homeland Security revoked Harvard's SEVP certification, the university was given a 72-hour window to comply with 6 stringent conditions for reinstatement. It included submitting all records of illegal activities by non-immigrant students over 5 years, providing dangerous, violent activity footage, sharing records of threats to students, university personnel, sharing footage of deprivation of rights by non-immigrant students, giving disciplinary records of all the non-immigrant students, and sharing record of protest activity by non-immigrant students. But well before 72 hours, Harvard University filed a lawsuit against Trump administration following the revocation of the Ivy League institution's ability to enroll international students. But how did it all start? After the October 7, 2023 Israel-Hamas war, Harvard's handling of pro-Palestine protests drew national attention. Then Harvard President Claudine Gay's congressional testimony on campus antisemitism sparked outrage and political pressure. Gay resigned and Alan Garber was named successor in August 2024. When Donald Trump in January 2025 assumed office, he promised a crackdown on quote-unquote woke ideology, diversity, equity and inclusion programs, and campus anti-Semitism. He signed executive orders targeting universities, including Harvard. Federal Task Force to Combat Anti-Semitism announced that it would be visiting 10 university campuses that experienced anti-Semitic incidents since October 2023. It included Harvard. On 7th of March 2025, Trump administration cuts $400 million in federal funding to Columbia University for alleged inaction on anti-Semitism. In April, Harvard receives a letter from the Trump administration listing demands which included overhauling governance, admissions and hiring, eliminating diversity programs, auditing Middle East-related centers, and rejecting students deemed quote-unquote hostile to American values. Harvard President Garber rejected all of these demands, vowing to defend the university's constitutional rights. The Trump administration then freezed $2.2 billion in grants and $60 million in contracts. Later, Secretary Kristi Noem also terminated $2.7 million in DHS grants. On 15th of April, Trump suggested that Harvard should lose its tax-exempt status, accusing it of promoting quote-unquote political, ideological and terrorist-inspired sickness. A day later, Department of Homeland Security threatened to revoke Harvard's Student and Exchange Visitor Program certification, setting a deadline of 30th of April for detailed records on foreign students' alleged illegal and violent activities. On 5th of May, Trump administration announced a halt to all new federal grants to Harvard. On 13th of May, Task Force reveals an additional $450 million in funding cuts from 8 federal agencies. On 22nd of May, DHS officially revoked Harvard's SEVP certification, blocking enrollment of international students and escalating the standoff to its highest point yet. In a retaliatory move on 23rd of May, Harvard files for emergency legal relief, saying that it has submitted the requested information on foreign students to DHS before the deadline. It complained that DHS deemed Harvard's responses quote-unquote insufficient without explaining why or citing any regulation with which Harvard failed to comply. A federal court issued a temporary injunction allowing current international students to stay while the case proceeds. As the standoff between the Trump administration and Harvard continues to escalate, all eyes are now on the legal and political battles that lie ahead. With Harvard filing a lawsuit challenging the administration's move to revoke its ability to enroll international students, the courts will now play a decisive role in determining whether these unprecedented federal actions stand or are overturned. The outcome will impact thousands of students and scholars from around the world and will set a powerful precedent of how American universities navigate government pressure on issues of academic freedom, diversity, and campus activism.